At this time, I'm going to turn it over to Chris McClure to go ahead and introduce Lisa.
Thanks. That's awesome. I'm excited to see everybody here today. Just a couple weeks ago, I think it was, we were on a chamber meetup like this, and Amanda asked a question, what are some things the chamber can do to help, members right now as we continue to go through this strange and unprecedented season that we're in. And one of the things that I heard a couple people say was, this whole thing about how do we get more comfortable or learn how to be more present to reach our people on video, because especially when we're distanced like we are, and in-person connections can't happen as easily. We look at Facebook Live, we look at a lot of video content out there, but what I know personally that has taken me a few years to embrace is the comfort level of doing video is it's very uncomfortable, let me say it that way, for most people to get started. And immediately I thought about Lisa, who's been a good friend of mine. She and I have several connections. We're both published authors with the same publishing company. We were doing some projects together, and I've just kind of watched her. I know her background of public speaking could really bring a lot of value, but she's also realizing how she can help people really go online and make an impact with their messages. And so I just thought it would be a really good opportunity to help some of our local business leaders learn, how do we do this? How do we connect with our prospects, our customers? How do we just build that online presence in a way that helps people know, like, and trust us because of video capabilities now? Because we have great tools available to us, but if we don't know how to use them, or we're not confident about where to start, then I think we're leaving a lot of impact, influence, even income on the table. And so that's why I wanted to bring Lisa in today, because I thought that it could be really helpful for us, and it could really help maybe some of us take that next step. Even if we're doing online videoing, maybe we can learn some tips and tricks that she's learned over the years that now she's teaching her students and clients how to go farther along on this video journey, and really looking at a different way to see stages. And that's, I know, something that Lisa will share with us today. So Lisa, I'm going to turn it over to you, because I know you're going to tell us about your story, kind of your journey a little bit, to help us understand who you are, because it is relevant to how we got even here today to do this training. So I'm going to go ahead and mute myself and turn it over to you.
Thanks, Chris. So I'm really excited to be here. When Chris and I were talking, I hear this all the time, people saying, I hate doing videos. I don't like this new normal. I don't like getting on calls where they see my face. I always put my name up, things like that. And that's I get it, because I don't honestly like doing videos either. I'm more of a speak to people. I'm very much a one-on-one person. I love being on stage. And so this is a new normal, but I believe that this is a new normal that we all are coming into and that we're going to have to get used to. So we can either kind of step back and say, I don't like doing this and I'm not going to do this and I don't know how, or we're going to step into it. And I think that that's really what we need to do to continue to grow our businesses, is we're going to have some kind of online presence and have a comfort level in doing that. And so that's what I want to kind of help you with. When Chris and I were talking about this, and I was saying, so tell me a little bit about, what might be helpful. And so I kind of came up with a little idea of just some quick ways and quick wins for you all to get, so that you'll get a little more comfortable going online. So I'm going to share my screen with you. I've been given that capability. Let me make sure, hold on, let me make sure I do this right. Again, all new technology that we're all learning together. Can you guys see my screen?
Yep.
Great. Okay, let me get these little people. Let me get all these little people here moved. All right, so we're going to talk about how to get some tips to help you speak online with more clarity, confidence, and connection, because that seems to be what everybody's really wanting to learn and feel more comfortable doing. And so if any of you are coming here thinking maybe you feel a little left behind and you're watching other entrepreneurs making the most of this time that we're at this new normal and connecting and growing their audiences, but you're just feeling like, oh, I don't know, then you're in the right place. I'm going to try to help you. And I'm going to make sure that you leave here with a little more excitement to go virtual with your message, because you know you'll be growing your audience and making an impact. So let's discuss how to shift in-person to virtual connection in our current situation so that we can continue to have an impact and grow our business. Many of us are used to sharing our message, our product, our service in a boardroom or at work or in a meeting or in a group or even face-to-face. And I love all that as well. And that is what we're used to, and that's how it's always been and how we've grown our businesses up until now. And I know for me, I love big stages. I love speaking to thousands of people on stages and the energy that it brings. And I've had the opportunity to have a huge impact on big groups of people. So whether it's speaking to a group of 10 or 10,000, it doesn't matter to me as long as I'm getting whatever that message is out that I need. And for new speakers, this is their dream. This is their goal, where they've always wanted to be. And I'm excited when we can get back to that. I'm hoping someday, and I love working to help them get there. But for now, our world has taken a big shift, and we have to navigate this new normal for a while, which is online. And I realized that when Chris and I talked about this, we've been talking about this for a while, and I realized that what I knew about video and camera and sharing a message is something that I could help not only speakers, but entrepreneurs, business people, businesses, corporate people as well, help them navigate this new normal that we find ourselves in right now, and help them do better at connecting to people online and continuing to thrive and grow their businesses on the online space. So what happened? Well, coronavirus hit the world, and think about how we are now having birthday parties, church services, school, weddings. My daughter was supposed to get married next month. We're rearranging all of that. Teaching, my kids are in school, trying to become an online teacher. I mean, it's just crazy. And what I want is to help you learn steps that you need to get more confidence and clarity so that you can connect with your audience and make a bigger impact. So I want to tell you a little bit about myself and my journey to the stage, just so you think, well, who is this girl and what does she do? Like a lot of you, I have a busy life, and I have gone from being a busy mom of 4 young children to a busy mom of 4 grown children. And the thing that was consistent during all that time is that I've always been a speaker. But from the time that I can remember, I hated speaking in front of audiences, class. Even when I was younger, I hated reading in front of class. I used to go around, I don't remember if any of you are old enough that when you were sitting in class, the teacher would go around and you each have a paragraph that you had to read. I would panic, and I would go around and count which paragraph was mine so I could look it over. I just hated being in front of people. I think I was just afraid of messing up or whatever. And let's not even talk about book report time or having to get up in front of an audience. But at the age of 24, I met a woman that changed my life. She saw something in me that I never thought I could ever accomplish, and that was competing in a pageant. And I loved pageants since I was a little girl, but I never thought that I was ever good enough, smart enough, pretty enough, all the not enoughs I felt that I could ever compete, let alone in a pageant. But as I always tell people, be careful who you partner yourself with, because when you find people that believe in you and push you into your passion or what you're called to do, it just might ignite your future, because that's what happened to me. So we worked, and she helped me, and I competed for Miss Ohio USA, and I won. And I competed in the nationally televised Miss USA pageant, and the opportunity kind of thrust me into the spotlight and onto all kinds of stages for the next probably 10 years. And I was just learning to navigate this world of public speaking. And then I had the opportunity present itself to me years later. I had written a children's book about diabetes. This was when I was married. I had 2 young daughters. And I had written a children's book about diabetes because my husband is a type 1 diabetic. And I wanted to write this book to help teach my kids about the disease when they were little, something that they could understand. And I had done that, but I just needed to get it out to the world. I needed that vehicle. And then I ran into someone that told me about Mrs. Pageants and how 50% of your score was your interview. and being those one-on-one interviews and really explaining to someone that passion in your heart and why it is that you want to speak about whatever this platform is that you want to speak about. And so I was like, this is it. And so I won Mrs. Ohio, and I got my children's book published, and I started to work more closely with the American Diabetes Association, and I began my speaking journey there. But I knew I wanted more. I wanted to be a national spokesperson and get my passion out for helping others on a bigger scale. So I knew I had to do everything that I could to get to that next level. And that's when I won Mrs. International, became a national spokesperson for the American Diabetes Association, started working with BristolMyers Squibb Pharmaceutical Company, JDRF, and many others. And I spent years speaking on stages all over. Again, a learning along the way. I have been on so many stages. I've done modeling, I've hosted productions, I've done theater and commercial work. But the one that I always go back to and love the most is speaking. And I've been a speaker on stages of all kinds for over 30 years. And believe me when I say that if someone would have told me when I was in my early 20s that I would be speaking on some of these stages that I've had the honor of speaking on, I would have laughed and said there is no way. I feared public speaking like millions of Americans. It really is the #1 fear we have. But I have been a spokesperson for some companies, and I have also helped thousands of others learn the art of connecting with their audience. And I've been doing that for years. And now I knew I had to help bring that experience to the online stage as well, because our stages are now online. We now have the opportunity to reach more people at one time in a message online that we can ever learn and do in a boardroom or a meeting or one-on-one in person. Think about this. I did some research for this, and I found that 1.6 billion people on average log into Facebook daily and are considered daily active users. Worldwide, there are over 2.5 billion active users. More than 500 million active users are on Instagram daily. So the Instagram app is now the #1 most popular social networks worldwide. And listen to this one, the CEO of YouTube revealed that 2 billion monthly active users are on YouTube. It's crazy because everyone is online. And we even, like we were talking about how things are going to change, and we think this might be the new normal for quite a while. Even conferences. I go to conferences. Chris and I go to this huge conference every year. Tons of conferences, and they're all going online as well. So I've been involved in 3 conferences just in the month of March alone, and didn't even leave my room. Like the one gentleman was talking about, putting the suit jacket on and the pants or whatever. I always have we say it's going to be the best Halloween costume if we ever have Halloween parties again, where everybody's going to come in their quarantine business outfit where it's up top and then the sweats on the bottom, because that is just the way it's been. And that's the way these online conferences are. You can come from the comfort of your own home. So there is some good to that. So let's get into some tips that we can help you in this current situation of being able to speak online, because this is our current reality. Some people just really are not comfortable with video. Some people feel comfortable, but they really, let's just be honest, they're not doing very well at it. Most people feel overwhelmed, frustrated, uncertain, nervous because they don't want to mess up. That was my thing. Maybe we don't know exactly what to say or how to say it to make the most impact. We don't want to just ramble on about different subjects, different titles, different topics. It's just a huge stress, and I get it. It honestly isn't my favorite thing to do either, but when you learn some basic tips, it's going to help you feel much better about going live or just doing video in general. So let's start. Let's talk about our message. What message or product or service do you want to share with the world? You need to get clarity around this message. What is your message, your business, your service, whatever? What is it that you offer? Whether you're a realtor, a landscaper, a coach, a business owner, if you want to connect with your audience and make an impact and grow your business, then I believe that this is one of the most important things that you have to have. and that is being clear on your messaging. This is a game changer when it comes to connecting to your audience, because clarity attracts. And you have to remember that. If I specialize, let's just say I specialize in landscaping mulch beds. That's my superpower. I'm really good at it, and that's my business. But I'm on social media and I'm talking about how I also do snow removal and I string Christmas lights and I'm a really great cook and I love this political party, then my messaging is confusing. People don't see me as an expert in anything. So you have to be clear on your messaging. Another is authenticity. I feel those days of the stiff politician style, overly polished, stuffy, professional presentations are behind us for the most part. People want to feel like they know you. They want to feel like you truly care, that you're this genuine person, a friend just like them, that you understand them, that you know what they're feeling. They want to know that you have a heart and passion for what you're sharing. This is especially important when you are communicating virtually. You can't just be this talking head. And we'll get into that in a little bit. I always tell people to spend some time nailing down exactly what the message is that you want to share, especially when you're going social media. This will help you connect to your audience and give them clarity on who you are and what your business is that you're sharing. Now let's talk about connection. When it comes to connecting, I want to teach two things here that will really help you get better at connecting online with your audience. Number one is being very aware of your camera. Now, when it comes to sharing, you need to speak from the heart directly to the audience. So if you look here, this little happy face guy, this is a little post-it thing that I always teach people when they're learning to speak online and just they're having trouble with the camera. A lot of times we forget where the camera is. And so if the little camera is up and you put the little sparkly smiley face guy, that'll remind you that's where your camera is. And it's a true way to make people feel you're speaking directly to them. Now, when you're doing a presentation kind of like this and you're teaching, it's a whole different ballgame. It's not as important that you're staring into the camera because you're having your notes just like I am, and you have a lot of things that you're trying to cover. But when you're doing a video or a coaching a client, or you're in a business with a business associate, it's very important to connect and let them know that you're talking directly to them. So be aware of where your camera is, and if you need to put a little smiley face guy up there to help you, remind you to look that way, that's a great way to do it. Let's also talk about positioning. Now, we can't just be, like I talked about, a talking head. You've got to get your shoulders into the frame. What I've been seeing when people, not necessarily like this in a group, but when I'm going around and when I'm watching and scrolling through people doing Facebook posts or business posts about their thing, I'm seeing these talking heads, and it's usually like the neck up. And when you're scrolling and all you see is this neck, this head, and then you have no emotion or any hand gestures or anything going with it, you're gonna keep scrolling because it really is boring. And so, so it's really important that at least that you get back a little bit to where your shoulders are in the frame as well. And the second one is get that laptop or the phone or whatever it is, get it up. Don't ever talk down to your camera. Don't ever talk down to your phone. It just feels awkward for the person you're speaking to, your audience. So always try to get, even if you have to prop a laptop or something up on something, get it to where your camera is kind of eye level with you. And that's a really good practice for when you're doing, especially one-on-one and coaching and things like that. The best way to practice is to record yourself and then go back and watch it. See what you, what it's like, and just keep doing it over and over again. And just do it on your phone or practice, set your phone up, practice going live. Watch yourself on mute. I always say record one of you just talking on a Facebook post or something, and then just watch it back on mute, because your voice isn't the only thing that can be monotone. So can your head. Like what I said, you're a talking head, and it can come across very boring and monotone, and people will keep scrolling. So you want to keep practicing. A way to keep practicing and to do it to where you don't get overwhelmed and feel like, I don't want to do this, is to, I always tell people, my clients, get a private Facebook group. Just start a private Facebook group and invite that mentor, that coach, that private, that friend that just knows and can help you. Invite them on, and it's just the two of you, or maybe 2 or 3 of you, and start practicing on there. Go live in that group. Learn how to maneuver the live video and the chats, and practice. It takes practice. I tell people you want confidence, but confidence will only come when you have the courage to do what you have to do to get comfortable online. So keep doing it. Keep practicing. Okay? Next, let's talk about the nerves. Now, the best way that I tell people is to shake the nerve is to take, when you're doing video, especially live video, you have to take that focus off of yourself and put it onto your audience. You have to picture your client on the other end of that camera, on the other end of that little smiley face. That's where your client is. And you have to talk to them. See, what happens is when we focus on ourselves and we're worrying about ourselves, it's kind of like the first girl in this picture. You can just tell she's nervous. She's worried about, what does she look like? Is she writing the right thing? Is she going to say the right thing? Is she going to mess up? Oh my gosh. We have to focus on our clients. And people care about how you make them feel, not how great of a speaker you are. And so if you make them feel empowered, or you're giving them a message and they think that they can do this, it doesn't matter if you're saying all the words right, or if you're saying and like, or whatever, and you're not the best speaker, that's no big deal, because people will remember how you made them feel. Another really important thing is that you have to ask yourself before you go live or do any video, what is it that you want your audience to do at the end of your live video, your recorded video, your meeting? What is it that you want your audience or that person to do? Do you want them to sign up for something? Most people are business owners, or they're coaches, speakers, whatever you're doing. What is it that you want your audience to do when you're done talking? Do you want them to sign up for something? Do you want them to go to your website? Do you want them to schedule a consultation, join an email list, whatever it is? You have to let them know what you want them to do. So for instance, if you're teaching a class on healthy eating, and at the end of this presentation, you want your clients to eat more vegetables, then that is seriously what you want them to do. And that will help keep you focused if you know what it is that you want them to do before you begin. And remember what I said, confidence is only going to come when you have the courage to do what you have to do to get comfortable online. So after you practice all the things that we've gone over, you have to just go. You have to start somewhere. Remember, imperfect action is better than no action at all, okay? So let's recap for a minute. What message do you want to share? What product? What service? What is it that you want to share? What is it that you think you want to go online with? What message are you taking online? We talked about being authentic. We talked about being aware of your camera. And we talked about practicing, and keep practicing. That's how you're going to get comfortable. You have to focus on your audience and not yourself. Just like this, just right now, this is I put this together just for you. How could I help you? And then now my heart truly is to help you. It's to help you get over that hump. And that's where my focus is. And ask yourself, what is it that you want your audience to do? So for me, I want you to go from this to this. I want you to go from stress and I don't want to do this. This is uncomfortable. This is not my gig. I didn't sign up for this. I like the boardroom. I want to go one-on-one. I'm a realtor and I like meeting my clients one-on-one. This is not the new normal right now. And so I want you to go to where you're comfortable doing this. That's what I want you to go from that to that. So I want you to, I have a free 5-day video series that I do. It's called Learn to Start a Presentation for Impact. And it's really a 5 quick video that teaches you not only what you learned today is how to get comfortable in all this. This is going to teach you how the best practices and the way to start a presentation. So between what you learned today, along with the 5-day series, you're going to help you shift from in-person to virtual connection in no time. And it's, like I said, it's completely free. I just want to really help you. I was trying to think, how can I really help you guys if you're really in that situation? And then when you sign up for the free 5-day video series, I'm also going to send you updates. I'm doing a 30-day fast track course to better connection, and I'll have that available in a few weeks, and I'm happy to send you information on that as well. So I hope this was helpful for you guys. I'm going to go back here to stop sharing my screen. And I hope that that gave you some really helpful tips on how to go live, online, videos, all the things that so many of us do not like to do. So I am happy to answer any questions the best that I can with whatever questions that you have. Chris is going to help me out with that as well. Chris is really good at connection and teaching, so that's why we partner a lot as well. So anyway, thanks, and I'm glad that I got to share this with you guys.
Well, that's awesome, Lisa. Hey, the first question that we have is where do they sign up for your video course? What's the link?
Chris, I think I gave you the link. Did I give you the link for that?
That's right. Yep, you did. I'll drop that in. You're right. You're holding me accountable. No, this was awesome. While I'm doing that, everybody, I mean, what, as you think about your business, what are the things that maybe you're struggling with, or any questions that came up in your mind while Lisa was even sharing this?
You mind if we ask the questions in person?
Yeah, it's an open floor.
Go ahead.
Okay. So I'm in the healthcare industry, and my industry, I mean, is shifted like everybody else's. I guess what I'm wondering is, do you have any tips on how to grow your followers? So like, I work with physicians. Many of the physicians aren't on social media to doing this. And so I'm going to be doing a lot of virtual physician meet and greets.
Okay.
So your training on how to get them comfortable is just awesome. But how do do you have any tips on growing your followers?
Yeah. So are you talking online, growing the followers, or online? Because that's, are you wanting just physicians? Is that who you work with? You know what I mean?
So it would be physician offices in general.
Okay.
And they're typically used to obviously doing this in person.
Yeah.
Well,
the one thing is they're going to have to also learn the new normal as well, which is starting Connect. So you'll probably see them online more. But a lot of times, you know, Chris and I talk about this a lot, is to get it on social media. If you don't want to always be in there every day doing videos and things like that, I know this sounds funny. I've been doing this for a really long time, and Chris does it as well. But to get engagement online, a lot of times it's asking a question. So if you ask a question that is very much in alignment to your messaging, so I'm not real sure what that would be, but I'll make something up. You know, what is one thing physicians would love to know about, you know, social media or whatever? If you ask a question, I always tell people love to give their opinions. That's just who we are. We love to give our opinions. And so if you can go on there and ask a question to start getting engagement, the more engagement you have, the algorithms will shift in Facebook. The more engagement you have, the more of your friends and your followers and your people that are going to see it. And so you have to continue to engage with them. So if you ask a question and somebody gives an answer, you have to go in and engage back. And what that does is that's going to show engagement, and then you can lead people. Like we said, what is it that you want them to do? Do you want them to join a certain group? What is it? You have to be able to know where it is you want them to go from there. I hope that that helps at all.
thank you.
Any other questions?
Vicky had a question.
Hey, I'll unmute myself. I've practiced on video before, and I feel like I'm pretty monotone when I'm just trying to regurgitate information. So how could I work on that?
Yeah, so when you say you're regurgitating information, is this information that you have to give, or is this something, let me get a little more clarity on what it is that you do, Vicki. I'm sorry. Like, are you just chatting on video, or you're wanting to present something?
I'm a photographer, and so I created an About Me page on my website, and so I'm telling just the camera a little bit about myself, so whoever's going to view my website. And I feel like as I'm talking, I'm just flat.
Okay. Two things. You'll need to try to think of stories that you can share. Okay, stories connect people, and people want to hear stories. People don't want to hear, all the things. I mean, they just don't. They want to hear stories. So I would say maybe going on and connecting to a story that is surrounding and tapping into something that means a lot to you, because we tend to be monotone and those talking heads, and I see it all the time. And it's just because we're not used to doing this. Here's one thing that I tell in one of my courses, I tell people is try to have somebody that you know filming you when you don't know it, telling a story, or even think about when you're telling your girlfriend about a concert you just went to. And you're like, oh my gosh, this was epic. Everybody had their things and it was exciting, right? And you're telling them this thing because you're excited and you're passionate about it, and it's super, super cool. But when we go online, we tend to lose that heart and passion for what we're talking about because we're nervous and we're focused on, oh my gosh, what am I saying? I'm not just a talking head. And then you get monotone and it's pretty boring. You got to tap out of that, and you got to tap into your heart. You got to tap into the message. So if it's a story about last weekend, we were in the situation, and I know things are different, but people still want to I went and did porch sessions with families, and oh, it was so fun. This one cute family came out. That's what people want to hear. They want to hear your heart and your connection. That's who they're going to buy into. They're not going to buy into your pictures. They're going to buy into who you are as a person when it comes to this virtual world and connection. So I hope that makes sense, and maybe that can help you a little bit. Yeah, I know it's hard, Vicki. It's an uncomfortable thing to do. And I know it's easier for me to say that because I've been doing it for so long, but truly, it's all about stories and your heart and your connection to your audience. And that will sell more of what you're doing than anything else. I hope that helps.
Yes, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent. Yeah, I was actually telling Lisa a day or two ago, I heard somebody else talk about, how important it is now in our businesses to really educate people on why they even need what we have to offer. Because, there's a lot of products, a lot of services, a lot of widgets out there that are sold, right? I mean, we go to Walmart or Target or Kroger or wherever, plus our services, that we need, utilities, even everything. But why do we need that? It's the why. And I think that's the story piece. That part of it too is, that I hear Lisa saying is, giving them a reason beyond, we tend to go with focus on features and not necessarily the benefits and how it's going to make their life better. And so, or make a difference for them in various ways. So that's a really good question, Vicki. And I think that it'll help a lot. Any other questions that have come up in your minds? Any other thoughts you're having regarding your business and how speaking online can really enhance that?
I have one for you, Lisa. More so just general or video speaking rather. How do you keep your energy up, or tips for that without an audience? Because I feel like you'll get kind of uncomfortable at a certain point talking to a screen when you realize that and your dog's asleep and you're you kind of lose that energy. How do you keep it going?
Yeah,
you did a great job during your presentation. So.
No, that's a good question. Like I said, I love stages. I've been speaking on stages for years, and the energy that you get is it's easy to keep that, adrenaline going. I would say that the thing about video is, like I talked about a little bit, is really you have to envision your client on the other end, back here, on the other end of that camera. And that is your client, and those people need you, and you want to share with them. And so if we can, for me, if I'm talking about confidence, and I do a thing, I speak with a lot of young people about confidence. What I do is I think of my young stuck self on the other side of that camera, and I'm speaking directly to her. And so, you know, you have to exude passion, because when you don't have that for what you're talking about, your viewers know you don't have that for what you're talking about. So if I was sitting here and you told me, Ashley, you said, talk about, you know, like we said, talk about mulch, doing your mulch beds. And I don't know, I do not like yard work. I'd clean my house all day over doing yard work. And if I said, well, you just take out, you know, get some really good mulch, and then you go to Lowe's and get some flowers, and then you can put them in the front and then make your bigger plants in the back. I mean, you can tell I could care less about this, right? But if you bring the energy to it, and I mean, I can fake it now because I've done it long enough. Oh, you guys, mulching is the coolest thing ever. Get the darkest mulch you can. It's beautiful. And then get the prettiest like red flowers and put them in the front. And then if you get the green, then you're going to have all the high. I mean, I can fake it till I make it now because I've been doing this for so long. But so you have to just connect into what you're passionate about. And you really have to show that, because I'm telling you, my husband is in corporate America, and he's an international company. And so they've been doing things like this for a while. And I walk into a room with him and some of these people, and I'm like, oh my gosh, somebody shoot me before I'd sit through that. It's just people talking in monotone and stuff about that I don't understand. You know, we've lost $4.5 billion in the last blah, blah, blah. And I get off the phone and I go, what is that all about? And he goes, I don't know, half the time it's just people wanting to talk. And so you see, so you don't want to be that person. You know, you want to be somebody who brings some energy to a boring conversation, especially if it's something where, I mean, have you ever done a Zoom call where you can just feel that energy is way down? It's just like the whole energy is down. So, you know, be the person that brings it up.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's really good. I think, I mean, that's so much, I know what Lisa shares with us, you know, and people about speaking is you find the passion, you know, find something to be, you know, that you can passionately promote, because even if it's a quote unquote boring topic, or, you know, and it's not real exciting in and of itself, think about, once again, the benefit of what is it that you're sharing, I think is really important. And I think that's that why behind it all, that leads you to the sharing the stories and everything. So that's really good.
That's very true, Chris. One of the things that I was teaching on the other day, somebody is like, a lot of times we're being forced to this online space because of our jobs, our day jobs. And maybe that's what I tell people. I had a girl and she's like, you know, I'm a sales rep for candles. She goes, I like candles. Candles are nice, but I'm not passionate about them. You know, and I'm like, okay, well then we need to connect your candles to a story that you're passionate about. So then we worked through, okay, and she was telling about how the one time they lit candles and the house went dark, and, you know, and with her kids, and it's like, there you go. So that's what you want to start sharing. You know, that's things like that. It's from your heart. So you may not have a passion for your business or what it is you have to sell, you know, water bottles, candles, whatever it is, that business that you're in, but you need to then try to connect that to a story that people can relate to. And that's a way of doing that as well. So anyway, I know it's a lot.
Yeah. Well, I want to piggyback on something, you know, Lisa, you said about practicing, you know, the Facebook group. So I wrote a book and published that last fall, but I have a small Facebook community that has been following me and learning from, you know, my book and content and things. But I felt very compelled last month to do 30 days of videos in that group. And they were like 5 to 10 minute type videos, just kind of teaching on a topic connected to my book message. And somebody asked me actually a day or two ago, said, you know, what did you learn from doing that? And first of all, it was the practicing. I think it really helped kind of hone my message, because a lot of times I think one of our fears is it comes because we're not consistent enough, you know? And so I think when you're talking about practice, you know, how I get on video and do my work today is light years ahead of what it was 2, 3, 4 years ago when I first started, because back then it did feel very uncomfortable. Now I feel comfortable, and now I'm growing still, right? I mean, it's a lifelong process, so to speak. So I think that, you know, whether it's in that made up group that Lisa talks about that you can get in there and just practice. Because here's the thing too, there's a difference between, and maybe Lisa, you can speak to this, there's a difference between doing that recorded video and posting it versus clicking Facebook Live, for instance, and feeling there's a tension there. Like people are watching me like right now versus I can delete it and start over.
Right. Well, I always tell people a couple of things. If you're uncomfortable going live, that's okay. Do a recording first. That way you can go back and switch or change if you hate it or whatever. But there are times that you just got to go. You just have to do it. I was out walking the other day and I had a message that I just thought, oh, I really need to share that right now. But of course, you know, I'm outside. This is, you know, not my realm. I'm walking and I thought, I don't care. I'm going live and I'm just going to share it. And you'll be surprised because people want to see you and just being real and from your heart. But if that's uncomfortable, and it will be, and it's still uncomfortable for me, I'm not going to lie. I do not like going live on video, but go practice and you'll get better at it. And then also record yourself. But what happens is a lot of times when people record themselves, they get stuck in the, oh, that's not perfect enough. Oh, I got to go back and redo it. Oh, I got to go back and redo it. And then you're never going to put it out there. So a lot of times it's kind of just pulling the Band-Aid off and just going for it, because the more you do it, the more you'll get better, then the more confidence that will come. So it just really, at the end of the day, it takes courage. You got to get the courage and just go out and do it.
Yeah. It was funny, even early this morning, I was recording a video to upload for a project that I was helping with. And I had an alarm set and I was like really into this video, and my alarm went off and interrupted and stopped my video. I was like, oh, you're kidding me, you know, like, so I stopped my alarm and I did take two, but you know, you're right. I mean, and I was doing a Facebook Live not too long ago in that group last month, and my tripod kind of fell over in the middle of the video, and it was live. It wasn't like it was recording so that I could stop it and do it again. I was like, oops, there it is, you know? So, but somebody mentioned like, that was real, you know, it wasn't like I had to try to fake it or be perfect. And I think that's it, is getting over perfectionism. And what I try to tell people is excellence and perfection are not the same thing. Mm-mm. You know, excellence is you're doing your best with what you have at any given time. Whereas perfection is you have some standard in your mind, whatever it is, that you're trying to live up to, and really none of us can. Right. And so I think that kind of speaks to a lot of what you're saying, Lisa, is just be yourself, be authentic, you know, because that's what people want.
This morning my husband and I were watching the news, and there was this reporter who was, how they're all going live from their home. And there was this reporter talking about this pretty serious thing about somebody died of coronavirus, and she had this big dog that was just barking like crazy. And so it was like, but I think people are just going to learn, you're going to find that people are forgiving of that stuff because that's a new normal. So if you have kids coming in, I can remember, you know, when my kids were all little and I would have to do calls, I can remember running upstairs to my bedroom into the closet just because of all the chaos and doing it. And I think, and it was so stressful because I wanted to be professional and I wanted to, you know how you do. And now I think, oh, how much easier would it be to do that now? Because you could say, oh, sorry, you know, my 2-year-old's knocking on the door, because that's just our reality now. And so dogs barking, tripods falling over, we're all in the same boat together. And that does bring a realness to say, hey, we're all in this together. So.
Yeah, it's funny. One of the pastors at our church was doing a recorded message a few weeks ago, and he thought he had this great scene. He was at a hill on top overlooking Dayton. He wanted to kind of share this scene, and all of a sudden, planes were flying over. People were walking by saying hi to him, and a truck was backing up, beeping. Like if there was a noise that could happen, it was happening in this thing that he was doing. And you know, so you're right. But it's real, right? And and the wind was blowing really hard. So it was, you know, like all these things going on but once again, people didn't really worry about that so much. They looked at the authenticity and wanted to hear the message that he had to share. And I think that's what so many, you know, as business people, we are selling a product many times or a service, but people are still buying us, right? It's the know, like, and trust factor that people need. And so I think that's really important for us to keep in mind as we hear these tips from Lisa today, is that, you know, this is an opportunity, I believe, for people to get a taste of you as that representative, that salesperson, that owner, so that you can then help them with the problems or the solutions they're looking for.
Yeah, I go into a lot of businesses, well now on virtually, and help other businesses kind of work with their people so that they all can be on the same page when it comes to growing their businesses. And that's a lot of the things is people just aren't comfortable with this new normal, and because we've never had to be. So yeah, I mean, it's all going to be trial and error for a lot of us for a while. But I think we're going to be here a while. And I think, like the one gentleman was saying, I think we probably won't go back as much to the what it used to be either. So we've got to get used to it. And if we want to continue to grow and impact, we're going to have to do what we need to do to get comfortable doing this.
Lisa, I do have a quick question. My role with the chamber, we were talking a little bit earlier about how we do videos. We call them member minutes, and we will basically interview a member. We try to cap it at about 3 minutes to keep people engaged and watching, but it's usually a rundown, either an event that they have coming up, a special, a deal, anything that they want to get out. It can just be as general as they want. But I run into people who like you said, they just aren't confident. So we'll shoot the video, we'll be at take 37. They continue to not like it because they're focused, which I get, because in the beginning of doing them, I was the very same way. I knit on my hair and my nails and my glasses and whatever I could find. But how do you get people, because I want them to feel comfortable with the video I'm posting. And a lot of times when we're done, they're kind of like, well, what do you think? And do you like it? And well, if you think it's good, I think it's good. And I never want to put something out there if someone absolutely hates it. What is your advice to help encourage them that, okay, let's shoot again if you don't like it. I want to get this where you're comfortable, but I also want them to understand that people don't want to see perfection. Like you said, they want to see real, they want to see raw. So it's kind of a balance, but any advice there on how to kind of, not only do I have to calm my own nerves and pump myself up, but to do that to the other person as well?
Yeah, that's a great question, and I totally get it. Here's one thing I can tell you is that happens to everyone. Doesn't matter if you're new to it or not. People don't have confidence in themselves enough, or they don't ever feel, like I said, all the not enoughs. And there's a story that I tell of how what I usually will tell people, because most people will know that I'm from the pageant world, so to speak, and I'll say, look, relax. You are not a 23-year-old beauty queen. You just relax. But I always tell people, this is what happened though. One time I was coaching and we were videotaping and playing it back, and this girl started crying. She's like, I just don't like the way I sound on video. I don't like the way I look. I'm just not doing it right. And that was the one time I couldn't say you're not a 23-year-old beauty queen, because she was. And in a few weeks, she was going to be competing on the Miss USA stage. And that girl had no confidence in herself. So that tells you that, Alyssa, that everybody feels that way. Especially, I can remember being at a conference one time and them saying, okay, pull out your phones and do a 2-minute video. And I was like, oh my gosh, I just didn't want to do it. And this was somebody that gets up in front of people all the time, but it was new to me then. And I'm like, oh, I don't know what to say. I don't know what to do. Oh, that sounds terrible. Oh, that looks bad. So that's a natural, that's the total, the monster that's going to be there in front of all of us. What you can do as Alyssa, the encourager, is to say, maybe share a little story with them in the beginning. Say, hey, look, the videos that do the best are the ones where the people are the most sincere, the most real. Those are the videos that are getting the most views. Those are the ones that people want to see. Don't worry about that, and really just be the encourager to them, because that's what people need. Yeah. They're never going to like it. It's never going to be perfect enough. Right. So I know you're saying, I don't want them to put one out that they don't like, but you need to kind of help them see past that barrier and to say, you know what, I think it's perfect. I mean, if you do, if it's really bad, you might want to give them some tips, but for the most part, yeah, nobody's going to like it. Right. Alyssa, no, there's going to be very few people that are going to go, I did a great job. I love it. Put it out there. So just kind of know that there's really nothing. Just be the encourager.
I'm trucking. All right. Thank you.
Yeah.
I think Joanna has a question as well.
Okay.
Yes. Hi. Good morning.
Good morning.
So as we're doing all of these Zoom meetings and WebEx meetings, I'm seeing a lot of the networking go virtual, and the elevator pitches that go with networking, I think, are a lot more common because we all have the visibility of one another. So I'm kind of curious from your perspective, Lisa, what are components that make a solid elevator pitch that people out of 20 can remember you like, oh, that's their ask, that's what they do? What have you seen in your experience?
Yeah, well, I teach, I call them my passion statement. And so that's what I called the elevator pitch. So I know exactly what you're talking about. So for me, I always tell people that if you want to be remembered, I'm going to do a whole training on the passion statement. And what you want to do is, when you want to be remembered, you don't necessarily want to start out like everybody else, which is, hi, I'm Lisa Moser, and I am empower and equip purpose-driven people. You know, you're what we call our value proposition statement. That's what a lot of people will use. And after a while, it's like, I mean, if we all went around the room and did it, there's a small group, but you get in a big group, it's like you start zoning out. You know, it's just, especially if you have a minute. Tell us about yourself. You know, so I always encourage people to start where you totally grab your audience's attention. So you have to think about what it is that you do. So for me, it's speaking, right? So, gosh, let me think off the top of my head. I might start by saying, imagine you're standing on a stage and there are bright lights shining directly on you, and there's thousands of people watching in the audience and millions of people are watching online. And someone is getting ready to interview you. And it's quite possibly someone very famous that you know from television. And they're getting ready to ask you a question about your message. Are you ready in that 60 seconds to be able to tell them exactly who you are, what you do, and why you do it? Well, my name's Lisa Moser, and I encourage, and so you see how I'm grabbing them in with a story in the beginning and not starting with, hi, I'm Lisa Moser, and I help people on stage. Stories sell, you guys. Stories sell. So if you can bring people into a story, a quick one, if with your passion statement about what it is, you're going to grab your audience's attention, and they're going to be more zoned in on you and what you're saying and listening than, oh, here we go. Who are we thanking? Who are we doing? That type of thing. So that's what I would give you. I mean, I do a whole thing on it, but in a quick, 60 seconds, what you do, that's what I would do.
Awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, I know we're getting close to our end of our time here that we committed, but Lisa, thanks so much for doing this for us. Like I said, I felt like it could really be a value add for us to really figure out some things that we could do to start really enhancing our business impact in our just in this new reality. And I do want to kind of reiterate, I put the link in the chat if you want Lisa's 5 videos. Just go to that website and you can give your email address. She'll send that to you. Like she said, she's got a kind of a 30-day fast track course that she's getting ready to launch coming up soon that might be helpful if you really want to take a deeper dive in that. But I also want to encourage you, Lisa is not one to toot her own horn, so I'll do it for her. She does work with individuals and she does work with teams. So if, for instance, if you worked with a group of people and you felt like, we need to do this better as a team to really do some marketing out there, she can certainly help you. So you could contact Lisa that way as well. Lisa, is Lisa at lisamoser.com your best email?
Perfect. Yes.
So I'll drop that in here. And you can connect with her that way. But yeah, if you want, she's doing awesome stuff. And I think that you could, we could help a lot of people. So Amanda, I'll turn it back to you, and we're just, thanks for having us and allowing us to do this today.
Yeah. Thanks, guys. I really enjoyed being here with you guys. You guys asked great questions, so I hope it's very helpful.